All right, here we go. Welcome everybody to my special stream about Express.js and Meteor 3. Give some time to people come in. The general idea is that I'm going to go over a Express tutorial from the Valley of Code and kind of probably not all of it. I'll be a bit selective and play with Express. Then I'll jump to Meteor 3, which will have Express as its engine on the web app. And yeah, we shall see how things progress. Let me put here the lights, grab some tea, and let's jump into it. So we have here, I found the Valley of Code has a lot of different tutorials. So the most popular HTTP server built up on Node.js. Yes, there was also a lighter version, or still is, called Connect, but it's more of like in maintenance. That's what Meteor before version 3 are using. And since I'm not receiving any maintenance, that's why there is a switch to Express. Despite being considered not an optimal choice in 2023. So we have alternatives like Koa, Fastify, Alicia, or Hono. Still worth learning Express because of how much widespread it is. Let's see what we have here in the note. I remember I had some pushback on Twitter by a vocal monitor I mentioned using Express, saying it's old, outdated, slow, better alternative exists, and I considered not including this section, but then I kept running into Express. I was reading the popular O'Reilly book, and it used Express in all the books. The book of note, which I was reading too, mentioned when sticking to Express because its plugin routing middleware patterns are the backbone of every other framework that you might have to use in your work. Yes, and that's part of the reason why Meteor is upgrading to Express, primarily because there's a nice, clear update from Connect to Express and beyond. So you have videos in Express, download on Remix. The only one for Node Bun being built with Express. And yeah, people love it. And if you go work something that has long-running prog with Node, it might be Express-based. Express is everywhere. So here's Express. You will find it using it, so you can ignore it. But for new projects, like I mentioned, I tend to prefer Hono at the moment, which is what I'll be looking at on Monday. Goal of a framework like Express is to make a lot of common operations simple and abstract the underlying complexity. So let's see. Let me get up. Let's move things out of the screen. And here we go. So what are we going to do here? I'll open a file. Express tutorial. Let's name it like that. Open. And let's see if I remember how to operate it here. Nope. Let me think. View. Terminal. Yay. There we go. So let me do, since I'm a Meteor guy, this is going to maybe for most of you be like, what the heck, he doesn't even know that. So I am going to get started with npm init, if I remember correctly. So yes, package, version, description. it, entry point, whatever. The sure. So node version manager use 20 just to make sure we are there. I think default I have still because of 14, because of Meteor 2, which is still on 14. So I'm looking forward to move that. So we put that in the chat. If you have any questions, thoughts, suggestions at any point during this, mostly monitoring the chat, so feel free to ask anything, and I'll be happy to do that. For people joining in just now, I'll be going through a Express tutorial on the website called The Valley of Code. And I will kind of go through it, and then I'll see what I can kind of learn quickly. And quickly from that, and what I can apply to Meteor 3, which at the end I'll just start Meteor 3 with Express and kind of experiment. And my main thing that I want to do is re-implement the picker package on Meteor 3, so that it's an easy way to upgrade that without having to do too much stuff for people consuming the package. Thing being, it's or remove picker dependency from other places. So what does the tutorial says? It says to install Express. So let's do that. And I'm going to also save here. Let's see what we get. Here we get Express 4. 5 is the upcoming version, so I'll have to then check what's new there. So let's get this show started. We import Express, then we create app like that. Apologies, I have forgot to kill the sound on my phone. So we've got that. And then let's see. We have these two things. Or can already guess what's happening here. So if we go to route, or we have like the routes here, and at the end we have kind of the app.listen, which says what port it's going to run to, and once it's ready, it's going to give us console ready. So I can just do nodes index.js. Here has the server ready, and I can go localhost 3000 hello world. And since I'm in the universe, then I have hello universe. So that's the absolute basic, and it will keep on running until I close it. So that's kind of the basics of pretty much all the frameworks and everything related to that. So let's close that. So first, as I said, I import Express, essential application with the Express method, essential application object. We tell it to listen to GET requests on the route path using the GET method. There's method for HTTP word, GET, post, put, delete, patch. So all of that, the usual. Next, a callback function, which is called when a request is started and we need to handle it. Then we passed an arrow function or anonymous function, which has request and response. Let's see, let's take a look on what else do we have here in the, okay, so it's a method express.json raw. What are these methods? Built-in middleware function in Express. Okay, let's scroll down here to the application. Get listen 3000. And then we have some properties that we can get from there. Oh. All right. So much for my tea. Need something sweet as well. So under locals, that are local variables within the application and will be available in templates rendered with response.render. So that's, okay, then they are event, or there's one event on mount. So admin on mount, admin get is okay. As far as a sub event when it's mounted on a parent app. The parent app is based on the callback function. Okay, so pretty much, yes, that's pretty much the, we've got it there. Those methods accept a callback function, which is called when the request is started, and we need to handle it. We pass arrow function, which then has response send. Express and two object is callback, which are called request and response, or rec and res. They repeat the request and response object. Yes, both are standards, and you can read more on them here, which is quite interesting. Requests is the HTTP request. It gives us all the request information, the request parameter, blah, 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 blah. And response, HTTP response object that will send to the client. So let's see what we have in the request parameter. Mention how the request object holds all HTTP request information. These are main properties you'll likely use. So .app. So that tells us which the app it's at, base URL, body, cookies, hostname, IP, address, method. Do sets like post get, parameters, path, protocol, query, secure. So excuse me, actually mostly on production, especially always HTTPS. Sign cookies, then we have XHR. So that's pretty straightforward. We use send, and send simple string response to a close connection. If you pass a string, it sets a content type here to text HTML. So if you put in there like a complex string with HTML and all that stuff, it would respond like that. Let's actually check the what do we have here for? Okay, so it has the head, body, and the rest is just my browser inserts. So straightforward, really nothing special there. and send end to send empty response. You can also do response.status and kind of chain thing together. So response status as a shortcut. So it has already this predetermined. That's pretty good. So yeah, so it's going pretty fast here. Nothing surprising of where things are going to get interesting, and where my main interest is are the middlewares, because that's what Picker is picking on. When you listen for connections on a route in Express, the callback function will invoke every network call with a request object instance and response object instance. Okay, so response. Since you can send JSON to the client by using response.json, which we saw at the beginning here. I think, is that it? 4.16 onwards. So they've moved that in quite recently. The same thing with raw. So those are text. So those are kind of their like basic middlewares that they have available. Delete, disabled, enabled, and all that stuff. I think router here is going to get hub.get. That's going to get much more interesting once we get there. So if we use response.json, we can send in JSON. So that's yeah. So this way we can, if we want it really fast and basic server that just sends back API responses, we would just be using response.json here and all that stuff. So you can also set cookies to manipulate your cookie, and cookie as a JSON object. Boom. Or I could say in this case it's just you pass in the as a JSON and all that stuff. So, and then we can clear that. Thankfully, it's not something I have to worry about, at least not yet, but I think this would be something that you would set for the most part in like a middleware to check for login, or it would be like a specific response to like a login action. So working with HTTP headers. So you request them request.headers, or you can go as a method. Okay, that's an interesting overload of method there. Change IP header value for response. So response set something text HTML. I'm actually, I think, using that in one of the raw headers that I have. And of course, you can then do shortcuts. That's not bad. So handling redirects, res.redirect, response.redirect, and so on. We can also use back. Not bad, not bad. So routing. Let's get to the meat here. And this is probably where there is the biggest difference between connect and express. Process which should determine what should happen when your is called, also which parts of the application should handle a specific incoming request. So we have here, what if you want to listen for custom parameters? Maybe we want to create a service that accepts string and returns that uppercase, and you don't want the parameter to be sent as a query string, but part of the URL. We need name parameters. So this is the, let's say, the usual router syntax, which you can see like with rag router and other things. And I'm very sure we'll see that with Hono as well. Look at the test in the body of response. We can use multiple name parameters in the same URL as they will be stored in request param. So far, nothing out of the ordinary. Use regular expressions to match multiple paths with one statement. The big thing is in Connect, you cannot use name parameters. You can just use, you don't even, we don't have regular expression or stuff like that. You just gonna post, okay, what is the address or the URL? And yeah, that's the limit of what you can do. So you can use here that. So I think this might be also be kind of could set up your own middlewares in a way, or kind of like, I'm guessing you can set up here like they have here like for post. So you kind of go first through it, maybe do some retrieval, or in this case maybe checking up on specific things, and then you can send that on. So let's see template engines. I have no idea what this could be. Express is capable of handling server-side template engine that allows you to add data to a view and generate HTML dynamically. Express uses Jade as the default. Wow, that's old. Jade is the old version of Pug, specifically Pug 1.0, and I've never heard of Pug. Heard of Jade, but never really know that the name changed from Jade to Pug due to trademark issues in 2016. Interesting. When the project released version 2, you can still use Jade, aka Pug 1.0, but going forward, it's best to use Pug 2.0. Although, so it might be some different Jade than I'm thinking about. Although the last version of Jade is 3 years old, at the time of writing summer 2018, who knows how old it's now, it's still the default in Express for backward compatibility reasons. In any new project, you should use Pug or another engine of your choice, like EJS, Handlebars, or any of these supported template engines, which are wow, Blade. Wow, EJS. I do recall hearing about that. Hamel combined Blade. Express handlebars. Yeah, that's not really something I know. Usually, you want to get like SSR or something with React View or something like that. So to use Pack, we first install it. Templates. P hello from Flavio. We'll create a p tag with the content hello from Flavio. You can interpret a variable using p hello from name. Okay, so this is in a way how you can do, could say, a static websites very easily with this, using this. Let me check any other. Do we have? Kind of wondering, do we have what is it called, Markdown? No, I don't really fully understand the server templates for this. Which is fine, because in today's day and age, you don't usually develop with these much more. That's usually for, as I said, static or similar pages. So that's pretty nice. Now, middleware is the big thing. If I'm going to do middlewares, I'm going to probably skip over the next two, look at sessions. Validating assign as an input. Let's see if there's anything specific and handling form data which might be useful in the future for me. A middleware function that hooks into the routing process, performing arbitrary operation at some point in the chain, depending on what we want to do. It's commonly used to edit the request or response objects or terminate the request by just route our handler code. Middleware is added to the execution stack like so. App use, you have the request response, and then we have next. So I'm kind of wondering how much different is that from, say, example, if we have this one where you have app get using regular expression. Interesting. So let's get here. This is all to define a route button action to the request and response object instance. We also have reference to the next middleware function, which we assign to the variable next. We always call next at the end of our middleware function in order to pass the execution to the next handler. That is, unless we want to prematurely end the response and send it back to the client. So, for example, user validation or authorization. We use pre-made middleware in the form of npm packages. A big list of them available can be found here. So let's take a quick look what they have here. Oh, they even have here in Express 3, a lot of them have been integrated. It's like body parser, compression here. That's cookies, CORS. That's usually like also through the helmet package today handled. Or handle method override. So, or maybe was it the other way around? Replaces built-in function Express 3. So maybe they have been, instead of integrated, sorry, it has been kind of getting out. So yeah, so okay, so they are, you only put them in if you need them, so you don't bloat the main thing. Additional middleware, these are popular middleware modules. Image Optimus, GXR if possible, that's nice. Express debug, Express parser response, CDN / uncapitalized. Oh yeah, as I mentioned before, helmet or HTTP headers, join IO, passport for the user authentication or user management in general, and some other. And that's not bad. I'm kind of curious how, if helmet is compatible with Hono. The app.use helmet, so that's how you probably implement these middlewares, and then you can set things up, which is really nice. And I'm kind of curious if, let's see, middleware, CORS, so they have their own CORS module and CSRS protection middleware attack. So it's part of it. Secure headers. Capabilities element. Okay, so they have that included in as well. Allows you to configuration specific security headers, which is nice. And yeah, it's similar to what we have here. Okay. One example is cookie parser, which is the parse cookie into request.cookies object. You can install using npm install cookie parser, and then so it's you have to install that, and let's add that here. So we have a cookie parser here, and we add that. We may even add it after. Okay, that's interesting. Oh yeah, because we at the end we do the listen, and that establishes the server. So that's why. Okay. And also set the middleware function to run specific routes only, not for all. Using it as the second parameter of route definition. My middleware request response next. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that was possible. So we can have a specific thing. I wonder if you could put in like an array and have multiple of them. If you need to store that's generated in the middleware to pass it down to subsequent middleware functions or the request handlers, you can use the request.locals object. It will attach the data to the current request. So request.locals. Nice. Express static. Okay, that's so. So this way we can put in the public and so on. Hello there, Bailey Harlow. Sorry, I'm not looking for any artists or anything like that. Okay. This is just for streaming random stuff on Twitch. Is it yes, Twitch? So first, I would need to get a lot of people in order to be interested in like that. Okay, so this is very interesting. This is I would say probably like the second new thing that I've learned, especially thinking about Meteor. If you can then have your public subfolder or folder that you can pretty much send to the client or expose them. I do wonder. Okay, which let's check it out. Express.static. Let's see the full documentation. I'm kind of curious. The ability middleware function in Express. It serves static files and is based on server static. The root argument specifies the root directory from which to serve static assets. Yes, Express.js is included with Meteor 3.0, just so you know what I'm answering to. So that's why I'm looking into it and kind of going through it. You can kind of see where some of the things here comes it. For example, we do have in Meteor as well the public folder automatically being served. And this is probably now with Meteor 3.0, there is probably somewhere something like this. Actually, Let's see, where's my WebStorm? I don't have WebStorm running, but let me start my WebStorm. And let's take a look on Meteor. We see if we can maybe find this code somewhere. I am going to I need to switch here from let's see, let me switch here to Meteor 3 branch. Okay, so I'm in release 3.0 branch. Let's see, what was I trying to do here? Oh wait, that was something before I knew from last stream. So let's reset that. So that's not something that we need. Let's make a pull just in case. Why is there a stash? What is this? Well, I think we kind of found this thing. No, sorry, this is something different. Let's do this. And I don't want any of it. Go away. So we are the latest, and then let's see if we maybe can find the exactly this. So we didn't find it, but I think if we search for static public, that might maybe just static. Apologies for the 720p quality of the video. I think that's the max I can do, and I have a big screen. Maybe if I make my screen smaller, but yeah, right now I don't have this up. Let me actually let me change that for you guys. View appearances. It should be easier to read. So we don't have. Kind of curious if we can find the. Where exactly they will have to import Express somewhere. So import Express from Express. That's in the. Let's check the web app .md. So because that will be here. Okay. Oh no, sorry, that's in documentation. Pity. So there you can see already there's like Express handler callback and stuff like that. So handlers use, so you can pretty much put the router that you get. You can actually create your own router like here in Express. It's pretty cool. So let's see if we can maybe get, let's see, what should we search for to find it? Or let's go look at the web app package. Let's take here, and so there's Express, cookie parser is included, compression error handler, passerelle send, stream to string, types. Okay. And let's see. Web app server being the start. Okay, here we go. Here's how it works in Meteor. So we have the Create Express app, which is right here, constant Express. So we'll disable the E tag and powered by. And then we have web app internals. So Then we have the Express stuff. It's quite a lot of complicated stuff here, I would say. Browser identification from the user agent. That is to determine if it's supposed to send modern or the old bundle. Okay, so does Express include router already? So I could use it instead of flow router. It's not that simple in a sense, yes, but it's more like the kind of curious how flow router is going to solve it, but the router in Express is strictly for the server. So you could theoretically use it, but it would be better to use something like flow router because it manages all the, for example, Blaze mounting and templating, all that stuff. While you would have, if you wanted to use the, uh, if you wanted to use the uh, Express router or the server one, you would have to implement that yourself. So, and it also works a little bit differently. So it's not really like one-to-one to do, but it's much more capable than what we have in Meteor 2, which is Connect, which really cannot do much of a routing unless you have always set routes. You cannot have route parameters or anything else because it just cannot handle that properly. So what browsers does legacy bundle support? That can be probably found somewhere in the docs. Let's see if have it here. Includes, so that's when it was introduced. Let's see. I don't recall actually, and there is going to be most likely or an update on the legacy browsers. It's going to I'm not sure if there's going to be update or not, but of course it includes Internet Explorer and like old version of all the other browsers, but I'm not exactly sure. There have been pull requests for that. Actually, I don't want open ones. I want closed one. Let's try this one. It's been a while. Let's quickly check here. There's a lot of stuff in here. Browser policy. Okay, so it must have been probably something different. Add note about legacy bundles. So we find at least some dogs here. And here we go, add mobile Safari UI as an alias. Okay, so it's unrelated, but here I think this one. Oh man, this is old. So there's package, modern browsers, and some other things. And yeah, I think there's modern browsers where it's defined. Okay, so we have here the browser aliases. And I do believe at a later point here, there should be Yeah, it's modern. That's the check function, and there should be somewhere. Here we go. Set minimum browser version. So here you have. Let's see. Okay, so here you have the definitions on what is for the different stuff that's being used. So similarly, that's interesting. Yeah, I will have to really check into this at some point, primarily also because there has been a discussion about updating this properly. But let's quickly check here. Continue to quickly looking through here. Here it's all managing the different web browser version legacy. Yeah, this one needs an update from underscore. Internal stuff for Meteor to do. Oh my god, we have some Node 0.12 code here specifically. I think we can kind of get these comments out at some point. Prune up things. I want to see where do we have our basic router. Config hook. So we have some the functions. Get it here. All those things. Static files middleware. Okay. Wait, static files middleware. So this should be where static files bar architecture request response next. That's interesting. Because as we've just read from the documentation from the tutorial, there should not the one previously. Let's take a quick look here. It was in the middlewares. Yeah, we had like get and stuff like that. So I think it gets used somewhere. Okay, it's used in tests. Okay, so then it's probably used in somewhere else. Server static JS. So this serves the files that get put on the client. That's the runtime stuff here. Let's see. Source map. And we have. Yeah, this is very much in the center of Meteor, and it might be like the first time I'm like really digging in here. Expose program details of string reachable way of flowing. Manifest.json seems to be have like a special handling here. Good to know. It's also primarily for Cordova stuff here, some defaults. Then we have some defaults here for web browser legacy. Is more in true false. And here we go. Here we got, so we have the app, create Express app, which we saw at the top. We have also here again the create Express handlers. Interesting. It's kind of like the same function being used again. Package and apps can add handlers, then run before any other Meteor handlers we have web. Okay, so this one kind of reiterating it if you are using raw express handlers, or in this if you are in Meteor 2 raw connect handlers. Let's see what Laurie has to say again from weekend. Maybe Meteor sometimes work with Legacy Edge, but it would be surprised if it supported Internet Explorer. At this point, well, it will definitely work with Legacy Edge. I think if it's not working, then that's a bug, even though I wouldn't mind, but it should still work unless you are using like something super modern. And at one point, it used to work with Internet Explorer, but if you wanted to work with Internet Explorer, then uh, yeah, maybe in some corporate scene, but then you have kind of just to force the corporate to at least go to Edge. Okay, but let's continue looking here how it works. So then we have the app.use. So it reiterates that with any of the new handlers, whatever, auto compress any JSON, JavaScript, or text. Nice, parse cookies. Okay, and it's playing here route policy if it's valid. Okay, so that's like a middleware here, not a proxy. Parse the query string into responses query used by OAuth server, but it's pretty handy. Okay, so this is specifically for OAuth. Okay, and this might be. Mhm. Okay, so it has a specific stuff because of a bug in the past. But I think this might be something that we might be not needing in Meteor 3 because we have Express instead of Connect. So definitely, that's kind of where you do these upgrades later on. You have to kind of go and review and remove if or check if stuff is still needed. Prefix. So then we have again use another middleware. Look at that. This looks promising. So favicon robots. So if it's going to those, then it just goes through without any additional processing in here. And if it just cannot find it, then it says 404, which normally doesn't happen because it will kind of let it pass through to your main router, like Flow router, React router, whatever on the client is. Serve static files from the manifest. Okay, so if you have manifest.json, you can select some static files that's going to be served. I think so. Core Meteor packages slide down imports can add handlers before other handlers added by package and application code. That kind of seems like a repeat of what we have before. It's like creating already 3 times. So I think we can, somebody smart enough, they can probably go in here and make this much better. Again. I think this could be done better. Not entirely sure. Probably Gabriel Gruba is going to know once if we ever talk with him about this issue, explain this. And suppress express errors, false, good. Error message, okay. Strange. So then we have, okay, this is where we have the CSS files added through the build system. Then we have the JavaScript. Oh, there's something like files during Cordova hot code push. We need to detect, so this is specifically for Cordova. Arch. Interesting. App use. Okay, so version 4 by default if no other handlers serve this URL. So I think what is happening with Flow Router and the other routers is they kind of grab the request, or it's kind of, because it's assumed we have to think Meteor is still a single page application. So in theory, all these routes should be going to the index unless it matches one of those that you have defined through the Express router. Then it will go to kind of to the default index for everything. Oh, we have to play with it once we get there. And here we have on client error, on request, parse error. Then we have with connect handlers, express. So web app.start listening. I think this is where it actually starts. And there's a lot of things. So this is start HTTP server. This is where the HTTP server starts. Let's see if we can trace this. Okay, so it's in here. Oh, what? This looks like circular logic. Wow. I'd really like to find out where the public settings. I'd really like to find out where the public folder is set, but it doesn't seem as the special one. It's here. That's because I would imagine it would be some sort of route, or like the express.static guide, but yeah, looks like I have not succeeded with that pop, so there might be something special going on here. So let's see what Weekend team has to say. Would it be possible to define express route So in some, you'll expose API with Express, not using Flow Router and Meteor API packages at all. So what you can do even today and is to set up, and let me show that on Literal Universe here. If you let's see, server. I have, where is it? RSS block. So what you can do today, in this case, I have a picker here, but you should be able to do that via the web app as well. Let's see how I have it set it here. So I'm building RSS feeds here on the server, so I don't want to send that to the client or anything like that. I want to just immediately for the server to respond. And all that stuff. So here I have all the different methods, and then I have here, this case, I'm using picker.filter. So if I get a get method on this route, so as I'm defining here through picker, that would be doing something in the background to get the get methods. And then I have here, this route. I have to go through picker because I don't have the Express here. So why don't we try? Actually, I have a lot of other issues upgrading. Yeah, but at one point, I'll probably do a stream on upgrading this. The code I'm showing right now, no, that's not public. That's proprietary. So I cannot share that. But I will probably do a stream on it at some point, either where I'll show how to migrate from Picker to the new Express, or stuff like, who knows, maybe we'll get to it later today because I want to upgrade Picker. So here I set up the URL, then I get the params, then there's the request and response. Very interesting. It's been a while since I really worked through this. And then if it's 404, then I write head for 404, not found. This will be one of the things that I can then update, especially later on for Express, where I defined, I'll do express dot not found or something, whatever was in the tutorial. So if we look back here in tutorial, working with HTTP headers, or was it earlier? Yes, I can then send status, and it will automatically choose. I don't have it like that. This is just because we are on Connect still, which is simplified or kind of a bit different from Express, earlier version. So that's how. And you can probably, if you don't need to have the your parameters, you can, if you have just like this, you don't even need picker. You can just do it already. Web app dot, let's see my here we have the Connect app, so you can probably, based on these types, do like a middleware. Same thing for Connect handlers. Attribute hook. But if you do the, say, raw default Connect handlers, you can do like route here and all that stuff. Maybe not route. but it's different. We'll have to then check with as I get towards the end of it here. So yeah, I'm kind of sad that I was not able to find express.static. The public, it looks like it's a bit more complicated. Let's see what we have here. And then we have here, yes, the response.download. In this case, I have here the build RSS. I said here all the other stuff, and I'm getting, yes, it will just kind of trigger the download. Which I'm not probably doing there, so that's because I need to display it just in case they have not for download, so I'm not using that. So there's also Express session where you can set up session. I think this might be something that will be like for the Meteor session that's going to be rebuilt. So that will be the same. You can store session data. Store depends on how you set up Express session module. You can store session data in memory, not meant for production, obviously. A database like MySQL or Mongo, a memory cache like RIS or memcache. So let me backtrack this a little bit. Requests are sequential and no request can be linked to each other. There is no way to know if this request comes from a client or already performs any request previously. Users cannot be identified unless using some kind of mechanism that makes it possible, like cookies. That's what sessions is. When implemented, every user of your API website will be assigned a unique session, and this allows you to store the user state. So that is a session on the server. After that is done, all the requests to the app routes are now using sessions. So here's the only required parameter, but there are many more you can use. It should be a randomly unique string for your application. So it might be like for the server container. So it would be nice to know what Express features can be used to replace some Meteor packages. Yes, that's part of this stream today. And then I can do request session. So as JSON stored. Okay, so normally you have to then do something in addition. So this is a little bit beyond, or quite a bit beyond what I want. Let's see how to write data coming as input in your Express in the form. You have Express validator. Oh, this looks like the check package a little bit. It's length, this email is numeric, and so on. So, oh, interesting. They have quite a lot of validators. Dates. Oh, it's after, it's before. Nice. You can chain them. Well, I think there is a potential here to improve the checks package, or yeah, there are like a lot of other validation packages. So this differs framework to framework. Wait, where is check imported from? Check validation results from Express validator. And okay, you can put them in as an array. And then you can ask here from the request for errors and do something with them. That's pretty powerful. but this is, I'm guessing, only for posts, or in this case, you have a post endpoint that accepts the name, email, and age parameters. So you do request body. So it's but different. You might validate it using. Okay, so it does it does this automatically. That's neat. And you can also use the other like trim escape. And you have blacklist, whitelist, unescaped, left trim, right trim, strip low. This is a pretty powerful validation stuff. Something we can try. So in this we have, of course, to extract it, it would be need to use URL encoded. Okay. Yeah, so when you do a like the regular submit, like to address, it has this header in there. Forms can also send it using get methods, but the vast majority of your forms you build will be post. The form data will be sent in the post request body. To extract it, you will need to use the Express URL encoded middleware, which is by default. So let's just go back to our Visual Studio and put it in here as well. It's good that's by default because this is very common stuff to do. We need to create a post endpoint, which you do app.post, and then you can just request it and it will take care of it. And of course, validate your data. So went through it. I think now it was a good time to. I'm going to go to terminal and go to my web directory, to my Meteor. Meteor create. And let's see, this is 3.0 Express testing. Oh, which one do you want to go for? React, minimal, or full? I'll just go with React. Let's see what happens. So 3D 3.0 Express. Let's see what version we have here. Beta, nice. So let's do a quick update. Yes, so I don't see anything. That's all. That's fine. It looks scary, but this is actually fine. So let me just quickly look if for npm dependencies. Let's update that. Let's show our nice new npm. Wow, that was fast. Oh, it's only one package really there. So let's switch here to that. I don't think we are really no longer interested in kind of experimenting there. Close that, and let's open up Lab Meteor Express testing. Let's do it in this one. So Server main.js. We have all this stuff all here, and we don't really care about it, but that's fine with us. So what we want to get here, so we can play with things with the import web app from Meteor web app. And we want to see, let's see, I have somewhere the new documentation open, but I don't remember. So I'm going to go to Meteor 3 pull request. And at the end here with all the checks, there's Meteor Docs PR preview. So I click details on it. Here we go. We get this address on netlify. That will give us the, or should give us, the documentation for 3.0, which, let's see. Yes, that's correct. We have that. So let's take this for a ride and see what we can do here differently. So we have handlers, we have a path. So I'm thinking, let's see, I would like to get as close as to, get, post, all that stuff, as close as possible. Thing is, if you use the use, so it's putting everything into middleware, which is interesting. Let's see, and then it uses here the router. Okay, so once we do express.router function, then of course we can use the Express itself because we are upgrading from Express, and then we can just do router.get, and then we do the handlers.use, which is the same thing as express.use or the app.use. Now we have config hook, code runtime config, and code runtime config. No, I want to see then. So let's start. Let's do two things. Let's just try to use the handlers use, and let's also then try to get the router up and running. So it says us that we do handlers. It already does here the use. Hello. And then we have the request, response, and next stuff. According to the documentation, if I can zoom in for you guys. Let's see. Let's try if I can send response here to the client. We have here response.send status. Let's see if we can do that here. Send status. And let's do 500. Now then, VM run start. Let's see what's going to happen here. So it's localhost 3000/hello. Are we up and running? Not yet. There we go. And here we go. Okay, so we can use the Express shortcuts. 500 just to make sure that it's actually working. Let's do 404. It's going to restart the server. We reload, it's not found. So now that we have confirmed that we can use the response and status, that's great. What about response.json? Spice it up. And there we go, JSON as well. So this is especially useful because if you do it like this, especially if you have like RSS feeds or like just, quick JSON responses or something similar, you can get it out there. The benefit of this, you don't have, the server then doesn't have to load any of the Meteor client or anything stuff. So it's much more, faster as usually the, API servers are, because they are just giving a simple JSON response. They don't have to load anything else crazy. So that's just really dependent mostly on the speed of your server. So let's see, we wanted to try some routing. And I want to see if we can do the web app handlers in use. If we can do this, if this is going to work or not. So I'm going to do universe test. It works. So this is perfect for me, though I am a bit, I would say the biggest problem here is that this one takes the .use uses, it doesn't care if it's get, post, or whatever. I will try here to do, let's try get, just get, if that's going to still work or not. Seems to be still working. And if that's the case, that it works, now I should get, yeah, okay, so now I get the main page. So use is, I think this is something that we can then add on to the documentation. So use gets everything, get, post, patch. So we can then use web app handlers, just post, get, That I would say is big improvement. And now then, with all these positive, let's say, vibes, or however you want to take it, I will be looking into, first of all, we don't really have to put in, picker by its definition is no longer needed, at least for how I am using it. So if we go here to picker, look at because picker pretty much was a router for connect in Meteor. The big one here is the filter stuff, which allows only to get through if it passes certain specifications, which is used in some other places. And you can see here, you can use existing Connect and Express middlewares without any issues. So what I want to do here, and there are two things. There's one or like two actual locations where fibers are used, which is unfortunate. And another place where, or I would say the bigger issue is that picker or there is dependency in fast render. So we need to do a few things. So I'm going to add them here into the packages folder, and I need, which ones do I need? I need add in here picker, and I want to add in here fast render and inject data, I think is the other one. Those, because they are dependent on each other, if I recall correctly. So we have them here. Let's first take a look on their package.json to make sure. So we have here the cookie parser, which we saw is part now of Meteor. So let's switch here completely to 3.0 beta 0. We have web app, all that stuff. We'll have to double check you truly have all of these things. Then we have here, okay, this one is I already started working on. And I'm not sure if I actually, or how much I progress here, so we'll have to see. And yeah, we have here the picker as well. So with picker, we have the implementation here. The problem is we have fibers. That's problem number one. And the thing is that we don't really have, as here we see here is we have the middleware that does its thing, and then we have a route. And we don't really need routes anymore because we have Express router. So there are two things. I want to check out what fast render and inject data need from picker, and either move that to, well, if you want to backward compatibility, then I have to improve picker to work with Meteor 3, or if we can just do a hard like a major version upgrade with breaking changes, then I can just do that. So we shall see first. So fast render here uses picker, Meteor X from Monte APM. I believe this one has already been updated. And it also uses inject data. So let's start from the inject data package because that one seems to be just dependent on web app and server, eJSON, and ECMAScript. So let's see what we have here. We have the client, and it's possible this is we are getting into a part where I can be completely out of my depth. I'll fully admit it. This is very advanced, or well, maybe not advanced if you know all the details, and I don't. So let's take a look. Okay, we have a Meteor startup here. Inject data, I do recall, is kind of like very fast injection data. We specify inject data to the client with initial HTML from the Meteor Hacks version of that. So let me just quickly check on here something. Okay, things are a bit messy here with my versions. That's fine. So only parse the inject data payload on Meteor startup, load it into memory, so it can be fetched by inject data get data. DOM query selector text inject data. So that's looking for that inject data string. It will get that. It will decode it and work with it. So okay, so that's kind of the then what the namespace is for, which is pretty much just an object where you store the data. It's backward compatible with Meteor hacks, so it's fine. Things will start getting interesting on the server where we have web app internals. And inject data to head here is true. Support legacy uses of inject data. SSR user should turn this to false. So if it's legacy, then I'll have to check if later on if, well, first of all, there are two things. This needs to be added into our Meteor settings, packages. In this case, the packages, and this one is, well, let's actually do it this way. This is kind of the standard we have for inject to have to get the default setting sometimes. So this is one big thing that we need to do here. That's just a new feature, nothing to that we could probably add independently as well, which I'll probably do if I don't. Or let me actually start writing these down. Let's see. Yes, inject data just in case. New feature. Get from Meteor settings. and that's server line 6. Okay. Okay, so then we have the startup. We use web app internals, register boilerplate data callback. Then it registers this callback, request data architecture, which is not used here. We can simplify this a little bit as well. Inject payload and not inject data, disable injection. Well, we do have, looks like we have more more settings. Settings here to add into our, like, let's say, what is this? Is this, yeah, looks like I will have to kind of go through here and figure out which is like settings, like here on line 15, and which one is like just a function. So okay, then we have the payload, inject data.encode. If inject to head, which we saw before, is that this question if this is actually, yeah, it's probably, yeah, that's probably saying. So dynamic head, blah blah blah. Wow. Yes, people probably who know how to do server side rendering would know this better. If not, hang data, it's nothing, or return false, which is data into inject payload. Okay, so this is, so you can then push stuff in there, get data. See anything here in utilities, encode, decode, nothing else. So what is picker? Wait, was picker used here? No. Okay, so picker here is used for testing. So in a way, that's a good thing because as you can see here to do, we can reuse that. We also have to get fetch here. Mamma mia, this is going to be not fun. HTTP has been deprecated for a while. So let's take a look, and this is also going to help us a lot. So here it's just testing on the client, doing the initialization, integration, and we have some utilities. So here we have picker. Let's see if just, okay, so this is just inject data. We will have to do also import. See, this will require modernization. Not heavy. So here we have the typical picker.route path, and then we have a function. And that makes me think, So we have that picker that is setting up the params. Let's take a quick look back to our routing here. And that's in request.params. So that's okay. So that's the first difference, first thing that we need to upgrade in picker to get the parameters instead of probably some sort of its own internal system to use this one. So prototype route, middleware, dispatch. Wait, it was in the route. So it has a path and a callback. Path to reject. Regular expression dot callback, and then it gets the keys. Why would you? Okay, that's a bit confusing to me. What I feel needs to happen here, and let's quickly look on fast render, because I think, yeah, fast render uses picker in its main implementation. It's going to be on server, and I have to look for using a route. I think we can probably is app URL. We have the cookie parser here as well. Kind of curious how much of this is already implemented in Meteor 3. And then it handles on all routes. Gonna first thing want to figure out how to do the params in picker, and let's look back here on the cookies, manager cookie, clear cookie. I don't think we even have to have. Let's take a look on the cookie parser package. HTTP cookie request cookie. So it does all of that. And didn't we see okay, request.cookie. Looks like that we already have that in there. And that's, yes, the cookie parser is already included by default. So that, or at least that's how I think. Using cookie parser middleware, this property is an object that contains cookie. Is it included when using cookie parser middleware? It goes to npm, so cookie parser, blah, blah, blah. Not here. Let's check the advanced topics. And middleware. Cookie parser. So you probably have to put it in, which is, and we saw that already. Meteor does this by default on their things. So how to deal with this? And in theory, we did something like this, then it should work. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So first the route. Inject data here, pick implement the instance. Okay, so I already did here that if it's Meteor 3 and we have raw Express handlers, it's going to use Express, otherwise it's using Connect. And then we have picker implementation underscore dispatch. So underscore dispatch is the request, or that's kind of where it starts. Let's see. And we have this dot filter function. Process next middleware. I wish there were more comments here. Process next subrouter. Here we go. Build params. Yikes. Let's see where we have build params used. I'm kind of curious. Let's see. How can we do this also to be and remain backward compatible? So, meaning without having to like have a major version switch. This params. This build params from the keys of the route, which process next route. So let's do Meteor at let's add picker on its own, and then let's add fast render as well, so we don't have to worry when we start. So here it is doing the params, and then it's come on. Fast render. Just need to fix the versions here. Inject data 3.0. Alpha 1. Let's see if this works. Just need to align them for right now, and then I can decide later. So it builds them up. It gives me a lot of account space. Why do I need accounts base for fast render? That's for tests, yes, but also for client. Let me quickly check this out just to satiate my curiosity. Um, okay, I think we can make this lighter by making this a weak dependency and then just making it check here and some other stuff. But again, if you want to contribute, this is a good first issue. Can already get that running. Back here to our params. So I've deprecated already. Picker. Let me do. It's going to actually even start because of the fibers that aren't picker. I just crash and burn. Yes, it's crashing and burning. Module not found. What? Cannot find module fibers, which. Yikes. Let's start with where do we have the picker. I just remove it. It's not going to. Yeah, because we don't have the append. So I've removed that. Process middleware and processor out. So quiet the quiet a pickle here. How to do this properly. So I'm wondering if there isn't like an async or something like that. That's why this was done for. Right now, I'm just going to do here the do call, and we will test things out a bit later. And I want to know here request response bypass. I'm going to do here consider there request the params was it, I believe. It's still not working. Bad, bad, bad. Cannot find module fibers, but I've just. Oh, don't tell me we have fibers in somewhere else as well. Not here. It's in fast render. Fibers and fibers future. Let's take a quick look if we can. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. This is so deep in Meteor, at least from what I'm normally using. I have no idea where this actually is or how to replace it. So for now, Meteor remove. let's just go with picker and not trying to overextend ourselves. And this could also probably maybe fix with working more into the accounts package. So yeah, right now we have picker in our application. Let's try first of all moving stuff to picker instead of web app, or kind of duplicate it in some way. Import picker from, so that's the correct one. And okay, so inject data and as render is gone. Picker remains. Let's take a look at README. So let's do the example with the exception that instead I am going to do here. Let's try response.json if it's going to kind of move through params much. Let's see if we can at least get the parameters migrated over easily. That would be nice. Well, if it's even going to work, given the fibers changes I did there. So let's do post underscore ID test query is there. Ooh. And what do we see on server? Response. That's interesting. So more implementation. Okay, so the first one is for request the params that has not found anything, and if we do build params, then we get the keys, or we get the stuff. Did I miss something big in the routing part? Request params, and then there is the value. So let's just do a big console there on the request and see. Let's see what we have here. You have the headers. Okay. Socket finisher. Okay. Params here are just not. Not there in a way that I would It's not there even though there. So keep the params here like this for now. Process next route. Let's see if we have like any. We don't have any connect, so how is that? Let's use. So it's a middleware, of course. Then it goes into underscore dispatch. And that one is right here. Is the process next route where these things happen. Which makes me really curious what we are actually getting. Or maybe because it's how it setups the route. The console.there request.params. Let's remove this for a little bit. And try that again. Nothing in the params, even though we have pick a route underscore ID. This is not important, whatever it is. Response JSON params. We see the response that it eventually gets. Yes, it becomes ID. This is very strange because this should be following the Express one. So request params dot the value. Be storing request params. Do I have to install something or what the heck? This is app.get. Could it be because it's app.get it doesn't work on the params? That makes no sense. Oh, sorry, because we use app.use. We look here. Route. And there is also the big one picker dot filter. Let's try this to add this here as well. Pickle further only posts. And I'll do post here for ID. Response.json here as well. Now then, if I do post 2, it will just get me here, which is correct. So I will have to do some. Man, it has been a while. Which one was the postman? Yes. Hello, postman, my old friend. Haven't used you in such a while. That is being discontinued, so I have to continue using collections. It's been a really long time, as I see. Sign up or sign to continue accessing all Postman features. If you prefer not to sign in, you can still use our lightweight API client to build and send requests. Yes, I'll go with lightweight for now. Don't need anything fancy. We just need a post for localhost. Post to Rocket. ID query. Okay, so that one works. That one works the same. Let's see. And of course, we get nothing where we should have on the picker. We are in quite a pickle. And if we request params the value uppercase, let's try here to do console.there request.params. Instead of post to, let's do universe. We get back rocket. Response.json. Let's just put in these guys like this to make it easier. Yeah, we got it here. Yeah, the value is the rocket. So what is getting rid of those things? That is what is the question. Because we have the route here. Curl implementation dispatch. Because I would have expected that, at least here it would come in all clear, and then there is like some filtering that takes place. Or maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. Because it goes back picker.filter. Let's see if I get console there request.params here. Likely, but who knows? Let's just, yeah, nothing there. Nothing there either. So it must be somehow the way that picker gets instantiated. This is frustrating. Um, or raw express handlers. Let's try this again. Let me actually do this. So that I know what's going on. Okay, it does not hit here. Doesn't go through the express handlers. Let me check our documentation. Express handler callback. Let's see if there's any raw. So with that, I actually first need to check what is the web app stuff looking at first, which yay. We have Express app, HTTP server. It's pretty much the same thing, I believe. Raw handlers. And come on, there should be more stuff here. You have the raw connect handlers. Okay, so that's my mistake. Should be just raw handlers here. Instead of the connect one. So I think this is kind of going into the future. If we change again, for example, to Hono, then that we don't have to constantly rename things. Okay, now we are at least going through the express handler stuff. But it still is still is not giving me what I want. So I'm just going to try this. I still have the web app here, so let's get rid of that. Let's prepare our postman and fire away. Okay, it doesn't go to the handlers here at all. Why? So many questions, so little answers. What am I doing wrong? And if I go here and check the express, maybe it should be express handlers. Okay, so Strangely, we have express handlers. Let's review the object again. So it starts with the default architecture. In this case, web browser legacy, yes, which means we are going to maybe have this here more. We have the client stuff here, but we don't care about that. Categorize request, decode, encode. Okay, connect handlers. It's the same thing as express handlers. Then we have handlers, function. Then I have raw connect handlers, raw handlers, HTTP servers, express app, suppress connect handlers, suppress express errors, sorry, connect errors, express errors. There is no express. Looks like I think this is just a matter of wrong documentation. We have here, but the web app handlers, this one is correct. A handler function that will be called an HTTP request. So most looks like I need to have a pad there, and then I can have the function. Which might be a bit different because I do recall we had that before, and raw handlers will run. So wow, how do we? Yes, so the difference between handlers and raw handlers is that handlers needs to have the add there, I guess. Or is that optional? No, this looks like it's going to be an array. This handler, or it's just a string, so an array of string. This handler will be only called on paths that match the string. Okay. So it's still a mix of the old connect and and we are getting more into our stuff. So to recap, if we are using web app handlers dot post or whatever, then we get the params, no problems. Mm, if we use the raw ones, then we don't get them, which is not necessarily a problem because that's what picker was originally meant to handle. But if it's already integrated, there is no need to really run that function unless it's nothing there, but we are not getting it for some reason. How infuriating. Let me try. Let me just try something crazy. Yeah, it's just raw handlers. To post to no, because we are using here the use and that is somehow different from the other ones. How was it here? Do we have, let's go here. App.use. Yes, it's path and then callback, for which the middleware functions invoked can be any of following. A root will match any path that allows its path imitation. So here we have this middleware will not allow the request to go beyond it. So I should be able to do that without having a pad here. That's what the use is for. It should go there. Let's see. Um, on JSON records. Maybe could it be because I do the picker, then it does go there, and then there is no next. So let's try maybe that instead. Yes, that was the case. But even if I use handlers, it still is not giving me the params there. While if I do this in .get anything else, then it's fine. Could it be something specific to use? So web app handlers dot are using post. skip that here. We can comment this out for the moment. I'm kind of curious if that's just the case. Wait, what? Okay, so once I use post, then it's of course it's different. It uses it's something else. Callback triggers to route parameters. Name and name of the params. Let's go back. That's not what I care for. And then here. Let me think. How do I want to? Yes, I want to do instead of post, I'm going to use here. See if that goes. Where does that go? Nothing response. So the params are a specific to post and all that stuff. It's not something that happens on use, which means, or which I would like to then, I would like to somehow force it so that we don't have to worry about it. So keys, what is M? URI match route, cost route, current route. See, so you look at the keys by looking at the params, and okay. Well, I have to admit defeat on this one. I was just trying to make something better. I spent too much time on this. Now then, fibers. I've removed this. It works without the fibers. And I am not sure if this is good. I think this is just not good enough. This is going to explode on something. I'm not sure what right now, but I think we need some better way how to do this. Nonetheless, I would say that both approaches are working. So pick a router, a route, or just web app handlers.get. I think it would be, especially for Meteor 3, if it should be fine to just, go directly to the web app handlers. And let's take a quick look here at fibers and futures. And we have fibers here, multiple locations. So let's take a look. Never was good with fibers. Yikes. It gets a new fiber. Oh man. Mhm. Come on. For off here. Think this is going to have to be an async function. That will have to be awaited here. If I remember correctly how this works with the fibers thingy. But that's and the callback here. Callback.call. I think that one is async as well. I think that is the main thing. Yeah, we'll have to study up how the transition from fibers to async is specifically supposed to be. That yeah, that's going to be I'll get the context. We run on there. Yeah, I think I will not bother you further with getting here into the technical details. And because the main point has been, for me at least, achieved, showing me that I don't really need that we don't really need picker at all, that we have pretty much everything we need from in Express and maybe a little more. And I will have, because pretty much what Fiber does, or it's not Fibers, picker does there is the equivalent of the Express router that we have seen. So the only thing that's kind of right now stopping me from completely disregarding it would be specifically here the fast renderer. But if I can maybe figure out how to get rid of the fibers here, and then here in the routes, if I can instead of using pick a filter, what would be the equivalent of picker filter in Express? That's what I need to find. And looking at it, well, first of all, so let's see filter. Implementation. So it pretty much is a router with subrouters. So it gets the subrouters in there. Wait, it's strange. So we have a bigger implementation called the filter with a callback. In our case, yeah, it's like a filter function that gets request and response. And then it's right. So filter reminds me, we go back to the routing documentation, we have to get pretty sure I saw somewhere router or route. So the route is there. See, we have any filter or anything like this here. Disabled, enabled. Render. Listen, what's this? Listen. Okay, no, that's right. As the start. About all. It's like standard app method, except it matches all HTTP verbs. It is for mapping global logic for specific path prefixes or arbitrary matches. For example, if you put the following at the top of all or route definition, it requires that all routes from that point on require authentication and automatically load a user Keep in mind that these callbacks do not have to act as endpoints. Load user is going to perform a task, then call next to continue matching subsequent routes. Okay. So filter here. Filter here pretty much creates a new router or picker. As a middleware. This dot adds in middlewares to it and returns it. Okay. So if I understand this correctly, it adds the middlewares to it. That's so strange. Let me go here to readme to filtering subword. This is unique functionality of this router. Let's say we need to handle only post requests. This is how you can do it with picker. Any amount of subroute with this filter. Same time, you can create nested subroutes as well. Okay, so it's also good for nesting routes. So you put in there so in theory you can also actually put in well no it only accepts a callback. Yeah, guys, I don't think this is worth it really to continue up kind of keeping up to Meteor 3. The only thing that I really see that needs to happen is another thing is to have the picker filter here function. Replace that. And in utils you have is app URL request dot URL. It goes through this. Request here's accepts. Thing here is with this filter. Let's see. So now I need to just figure out a proper migration. And in this case, what we want is a middleware. Yes, it's a middleware. That will get in we have actually two things here. We have the cookie parser middleware. Then we have, if it is, now this one is, this one is an interesting. So the first one, the cookie middleware, that's fine. That will get there on all routes. That's not a problem. And this specific middleware, we want to determine if that passes. If that passes, then we do the fast render stuff. And I do think we had kind of an example for that here. By putting it so I'm thinking Express Express.router and a router. Let's just do it like that. And we'll have to do this here next, I believe. Middleware. Middleware. Yes, middleware has the, we can actually, yes, we can put it make it even better. This outro middleware. And then we'll do the router dot route and have it like that. So that's, and now we need to do the web app handlers use router. Oops. My guess. Just want to check here for route. No, we need one router. Okay, so that's pretty much an independent router that we can add in there. That should be enough. So we have a proposal how we can do potentially Meteor fast render without a Meteor 3 without Picker, which is also nice because we reduce a dependency as well, which, because then we are just depending on the base Meteor and everybody's happy. I have to also check how the import Express stuff would work here. And even before that, I would need to I would need to fix the fibers, so that's something that's coming. I'm going to release this, let's say, special picker implementation. The problems are, of course, fibers. So one big thing, this have to be 2.0 because minimum will be 2.8.1. Anyway, maybe even further up, depending on how I'm going to handle, or maybe even less because the async thing was implemented much later. 2.3 might be possible. I think that's where most of these things were. Anyway, so 2.3. But let's leave at 2.8.1 because if you are before that, you're not worried about the changes in here, and there is no need for you to do this update anyway. So we'll do that. There also have to be probably, yeah, the fiber, pretty much when there is fibers, it means that we need to do the async here somehow, or maybe maybe if I can somehow do the new promise or something like that. So more stuff for me to study on this, but yeah, this is looking promising. I'm even more convinced that picker is not the future in this case, or especially after Meteor 3. It is the main reason why it exists is no longer needed. And yeah, with that, I believe that's what I really wanted to do today. Check out Express, how it works, what it can do, especially in regards to Meteor 3, because on Monday I will be looking at Hono and trying that one out. It won't be inside Meteor at all because obviously it's not implemented in Meteor, so there's like no point really to test it. But I do believe that if I really find Hono, how should we call it, interesting or good and fast, then I will be most likely lobbying for it to be included in the future version. So stay tuned to Monday. Just before that, we have from Weekend Team, last question. Is it like if current async or new async? Or it's just only not exactly sure what, Laurie, what you're referring to. If you could please elaborate a little bit more, that would be nice. Do you let me? Oh, for replacing fibers in that code previously, I'm thinking what's going to happen there, what we'll have to do. Well, let me actually reopen it and share screen. And kind of look on this thing. So I'm not sure if there is like even equivalent of fibrous current or dot current. So instead, I think this is like async function or something like that. I'll have to check. Let's just say it's going to be something easy like that. Then I'm thinking maybe if we could do like maybe new promise, and then we can somehow resolve this like that through promises. I'm thinking that would be nice, or we'll kind of have to escalate a bit more further up. That's one option, like through maybe promise do stuff here, or we'll have to also like go here async function and then do await call. I'm not exactly sure how to do this best, or the best would be if I can like maybe do async here, allow for async callback, and let's see, but I have to check. Let's see, process route is internal. It gets the route.callback. Which looks to me I will have to really do more investigation on this because I'm just still wet behind the ears. Specifically how to do this, and because this is like old fibers stuff, all of this, going back to the beginnings of Meteor. But looking at this like that, maybe we could get away without using async await or fibers altogether. But first of all, I would have to really know why there was fibers here. And that's a knowledge that's, I would say, at this point lost to time. But if somebody figures it out, submits a PR, I will be over the moon, because that's going to simplify things for me on at least temporarily, and release me to do other stuff on other spaces like the fast render and all that stuff. So yeah, at least with fast render, we have potentially a way how to replace picker altogether. So that one is going to be pretty nice. I think we also will be returning to this in a more of a deep dive. So we'll have to, or there will be more opportunities to really look into the Express stuff. All right, I've rambled long enough. As I said, on Monday, I will be going through Hono, and I think it's going to be not as long as this because I kind of went through Express and then I went to Meteor 3. So that's there. Let's see what else before I go. If you like what I am doing and would like to see more stuff, I would be happy if you would consider sponsoring me. I'll put the link to that in the comments. And if you sponsor me, you will also get an opportunity to come on my Monday podcast and talk to me about anything that comes to mind or that is topical. With that, thank you very much once again for joining me this evening. And I will see you guys on Monday or in Twitter or on the Meteor forums or somewhere else over the weekend. So with that, have a good night or good day wherever you are, and I will see you next time.